Welcome to the RPG Book Club, a podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
And I'm Maddie Webben.
And today we'll be taking a detour from Final Fantasy X to allow Eli some time off, and we'll be bringing you guys a discussion of our favorite topic, Homestuck.
Homestuck!
Hell yeah, that's right. All Homestuck references all the time. You can't get away from them today.
So me and Sam are just absolute fucking diehard Homestuck fans. Because
I unfortunately moved computers and lost my bookmark, and when half the pages in the second half of the thing are just called equals greater than, it's really hard to know where I was. So I am rereading it currently, so I don't actually know the ending, so don't spoil it. But
it's such a good ending too.
I was like, I think I was like 2 or 3 months away from the ending, but he, after like taking almost a year off, like before then, it was like new shit every day, and it's just it racked up, and I have no idea where I am.
Yep. Homestuck is we're not really the right age group for Homestuck. Homestuck is usually for a little bit younger people. And also, I'm also not like a big Tumblr fandom type person. I don't really fit any of the criteria. The thing about Homestuck is that it is one of the greatest works of literature of the 21st century. Do not at me. Yeah. It's just stupendously good, and everyone should read it. And in my reread, I'm doing it on the physical version, and so it has the author commentary all the way through it. And there are so many things that you think are he made it up at the very beginning, and then when he was like back into a corner, he pulled it out of his ass or something. But no, he actually planned like every throwback, every little thing. There was just one so far where he's like, I went and I retconned and drew it into this panel, but all the rest of them, he just was like, oh no, I brought in Jake this early because I knew who Jake was, and I knew what he was going to be doing and how important he was going to all be. And it's just, oh god,
it's
don't even
nuts.
talk to me about Jake.
Well, we're about to a lot because he's in this game.
So anyway, to back up a little bit, Homestuck is a webcomic on the internet. It is a very multimedia webcomic. It has comics. It has little games like as part of the comic. It has videos as part of the comic. It has a shit ton of music. And if you follow things, you'll know that that it's very tied to a much more popular recent video game called Undertale. Undertale is heavily inspired by Homestuck, more in tone than in content. But in just sort of theme and feel. But it's directly inspired by it because the guy who made Undertale, Toby Fox, wrote, drew a lot of, and programmed, and most importantly wrote the music for. His previous thing he was known for was writing a lot of music for Homestuck.
Fun fact, he also worked on Hiveswap, the game we're going to be talking about today.
He did indeed, although he was not the primary composer, according to the end credits at least.
Yeah.
So that's what Homestuck is. Sam, you haven't finished the game, but this is not a spoiler really to say that the overall plot of it takes a long time to coalesce, but it's basically a super elaborate creation myth. It literally is about a bunch of kids who are charged with, as part of the natural order of the universe, creating a new world. It's and they have to go through all these hoops, and there's all this drama, and they fuck it up like 5 times, have to like reset, and that's why there's like 4 different like timeline realities. And then they think hopefully we'll finally get it right this time. And it's all about teens having big feelings. Hiveswap is a highly anticipated, hugely amount of money Kickstarted adventure game that is in the Homestuck universe. It had a lot of development hell, unfortunately. We don't have time to talk about it because we frankly got enough to talk about today. But they had some trouble. It was going to look one way. They had this developer they were contracting it out to. Andrew Hussey, the guy who makes Homestuck, was having this developer help him. And then I guess it just didn't work out with that developer. Some people allege that the developer did some really shitty things, like they were dishonest or bad. I don't know if that's true at all, and I wouldn't want to smear their developer. Other people just say that the relationship didn't work out. The game wasn't going the way that Hussey wanted it.
on the Homestuck wiki, they mention that that first developer was doing it all in 3D, but 3D gets real expensive, and so they were like, scratch that. We have all of these 2D artists from Homestuck. Let's just make it in 2D, and then they did.
Yep. So they ended up breaking off the relationship with that developer, basically forming a new game development studio from scratch.
Yeah.
So Hussey brought it all in-house.
Yeah.
And they made it. It is part 1. Originally part 1 of 4. Now it's part 1 of 8.
No, it's part 1. It's still part 1 of 4 from what I see.
Yeah.
I saw that
an entire other 4-part series as well now.
No, I mean, I thought it was two-part series is what I was saying. It might be 2. It might be 2-4. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. Who knows? Point is, it is not a complete story.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will finish it, even though they had troubles, because oh boy, I gotta know what happens next.
Yeah, it leaves on like when I got to the ending, I was like, it's probably about to end. This feels like a good first episode cliffhanger, but I really don't want it to be over.
Yeah,
and then it was.
Yeah. So that's the context. That's what it is. Although, again, how do you say what Homestuck is? And also, it is written by the lead writer. It's not Andrew Hussey, though of course he was involved in the scenario and the plot. It was his game. Mm-hmm. The actual lead script writer who wrote most of the writing, the actual dialogue and the text in the game, is this dude named Cohen Edenfield, who you might know as the Twitter personality Cohen is a Ghost.
Oh, nice.
I really love Cohen as a Ghost. He's great. Although the funny thing is that ever since he got this job, he hasn't been tweeting nearly as much, probably because he's too busy. He used to be a very, very prominent Twitter person, I would say. Mm-hmm. But I think he just has a life now. He has this game, but also like he has like a job doing using his degree. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So, but I think he should focus more on what I care about, which is tweeting.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway.
Before we jump in to discuss Hiveswap Act 1, not to be confused with Hiveswap Friend Sim, which is a 18-part video game that was released in between Act 1 and the eventual release of Act 2. Wow. But the poll for our best of the rest, our voter poll, finished this morning, and in the last moments of the poll, someone switched their vote from Shining Force over to Okage. So Okage Shadow King has progressed to the second round, and Shining Force has moved on to the elimination bracket. So
Sega representation still.
So Andrew, I know you're out there, and I know that you are sad about this. Go create a bunch of fake accounts and send us lots of money, and Shining Force can still win. Like, we have the elimination bracket for a reason. So if you are sad that we're not going to be playing a Sega game, you can go in about 3 weeks. Shining Force will go up against whoever loses the next bracket, and you can vote for them there, and they can come back and they can win the whole thing.
I did not realize it was double elimination.
Yeah, I'm extra as shit.
You're so it should be extra, especially considering there's only 4 games.
Yeah,
double elimination for 4 games. Okay, Sam.
My favorite thing about it being double elimination is it's like almost like data harvesting to know what games you guys like. That's because true. It puts every game versus every other game at least once. And so I could be like, oh, okay, nobody really likes Sega games, but they hate Dragon Quest more. So let's play Dragon Quest Sega, some Chinese bootleg for the Mega Drive.
That's true. Yeah, we're just collecting data on you, and we're going to sell it to companies.
Yeah, we're going to sell them to our company, RPG Book Club LLC.
Yes.
But yeah, so match 2 can begin. I forgot that I had put this in the script to be telling you guys today, because I have not made the post, so I will do that when we hang up. But match 2 will be Dragon Quest V versus Magic Knight Rayearth for the SNES. And not trying to call it early, but please let us play Dragon Quest. Just vote for Dragon Quest, guys.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just fucking do it. Just vote for Dragon Quest.
And the game's cheap on your phone, and it's beautiful. Just do it.
It's great.
Just do it. It's great. Just let's fucking play Dragon Quest.
We love Dragon Quest. We love it, folks.
But yeah, so go vote on our Patreon if you're not a patron. So it just takes $1, which is the smallest amount. I was trying to make it just be a penny, but Patreon only works in dollars. So send us send us $1 and you can vote, and then you can cancel as soon as you vote. I don't care. That's fine.
You can cancel, folks.
Yeah. Or I just want your money. No, I just want votes, because right now we have an even number of patrons, so we'll get to a tie like we did this last time. So just one more person come in and vote, and we'll stay away from all those ties.
Hell yeah. Anyway, on to the video game. Sam, I am sorry. I just explained all that shit myself instead of doing it in the really cute way that you did in your notes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. My notes were cute, but it's fine.
So, now we're on to the actual game. Sam, lead off.
Yeah. So, we start the game watching a brother and sister play around in an impeccably animated backyard. And then, of course, the beat drops and the music slaps. And the big monster from Skyward Sword, but like a centipede version, comes out of nowhere and attacks the boy and girl. So our heroine, Joey Claire, distracts the monster from eating her brother and runs inside, and we begin playing the game in her room. And right away, the very first thing that I realized was it's been a long time since I've read new Homestuck words. Like right now, I'm rereading, and so it's just like this is great. I just love.
I got the same feeling. It felt like, I don't know. It felt like coming home or something. It felt like coming home stuck. Another thing was as Joey runs past, as soon as Joey runs into her house, as soon as she gets into the house, I'm like, my heart again had feelings. I was like, oh my god, this is a house in a Homestuck. In a Homestuck story, because in true Homestuck fashion, she runs through her house, and her house is just littered with bizarre objects. Homestuck has this thing where characters, especially characters as dads, tend to be obsessed with like one or two objects, and that's it. And there's just a zillion of them everywhere. So in this case, she's running through her house, and there's just a zillion like stuffed,
taxidermy animals.
Taxidermied animals everywhere. And there's also just like a zillion like weird blue statues, and there's also like a zillion like weird like suits of armor, and they're just like littered, like not with any aesthetic or beauty, just like, oh, this house is like 50% house, 50% like storage unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the Homestuck style. Like that's what a person's house looks like in Homestuck. And it just made me so happy to see that. The first line of dialogue is in classic Homestuck fashion. It says, "Your name is ... and you click, and you're expecting a name entry form, and it says, "You're gonna need a minute."
Yeah, it's so you have to catch your breath on the inside side of the door.
Yeah,
and it's great. I love it so much. But so the plot is fairly light because it's all world building, because that's kind of how Homestuck does it. It kind of meanders so that it can world build a lot, and then bang bang boom, shit happens. But some of the world building, because our first quest that we have to do is tell our brother that the monster isn't chasing us anymore, so it's probably going after him. So we need to get batteries for our walkie-talkie, and we do that by exploring her room and learning a lot about her. And the very first thing we learn is that her babysitter is Roxy Lalonde. It doesn't say it right away, but you see there's a snow globe with a wizard in it, and you pick it up, and it's like, your babysitter gave this to you. She seemed drunk, but you like it anyways. And you're like, oh, okay, a wizard with drinking? It's Roxy.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, what? Her babysitter loves wizards? Yeah, the game hits the lore immediately. I wasn't expecting it.
When people say, "Oh, this takes place in the blank universe," I'm used to things like, I was trying to think of one off the top of my head, but like video games always will be like, "Oh, this is in the Mega Man universe, but it's about Mega Man ZX Advent," and it barely will ever touch anything besides a stray reference to X and Zero every now and then. But these are all their own characters doing all their own things.
Yeah.
But then this game is like, no. spoilers, this is Jake Harley's kid, and this is Roxy Lawn's babysitting ward, and it's just like, what the shit, man?
Yeah,
like right off the bat, like hella involved in Homestuck.
I thought it was going to be like, here's some unrelated kids on an adventure that also involves trolls and Homestuck shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because the setup for the game is Joey's going to get transported to Alternia, where all the trolls are from, and like that could happen in theory to anybody. Like it doesn't have to happen to one of the 8 main characters of Homestuck, but here it did, and it's nuts. But what's cool is because in all 8,000 pages of Homestuck, Jake never mentions that he had a kid. They take care of that in the best sad stuck sort of way, where he just never comes home. When he comes home, he just drops off shit from his adventures and then leaves again. And it's like, the reason Roxy is the babysitter is because Jake isn't there, and it's sad and it's great.
Yeah, this game totally pulls like a Chrono Cross on all of your beloved characters. Guess what? Turns out Roxy is still an alcoholic, and it's really just like an actual Homestuck. It starts off as funny, and then it acknowledges that that's not funny.
Yeah.
And Jake is a complete piece of shit, just like he is in the comic, and he has not improved as a person, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's depressing, actually. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, there's a lot. So other things we learn about Joey is that she likes a lot of cool things, but hates Bubsy. And one thing I found out while I was researching, make sure I didn't skip anything, because being an adventure game, you have to click on all the things to find all the things, and I was sure I missed some stuff. And Bubsy is the only pop culture reference in the whole game. There used to be a whole lot more, but they changed them probably when Viz and Homestuck started their relationship, and Viz was like, yeah, let's not try and piss off anybody. So Bubsy is the only one that made it to the game. But there was things like Famicom and other video games and stuff that were all mentioned, but Bubsy's the only one that made it. What? Oh, Second Mom, yeah.
Second Mom. Instead of Mother 2, she has a poster for a game called Second Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of jokes about like non-copyright infringing off-brand pop culture references, which is funny because the original comic would just do the pop culture references. And this one, I guess for legal reasons, they decided, you know what, let's just not. Also, it's like a commercial product, whereas the comic was free online.
Yeah.
So they're like, let's just avoid that, except for Bubsy. We'll put Bubsy in this game to say how much we hate him.
Yeah. and then on the Troll Planet, you got a whole lot more like overt pop culture references, but because it's on the Troll Planet, everyone's trolls, so then it's a parody, so then they can get away with it.
Yep.
There.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you find out that your brother Jude likes aliens a lot and is sure that there's a conspiracy going on in this town related to them. And every time you talk to him, he's just like, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but we're fighting for our lives because I was right. And it's great. So you fix the walkie-talkie, and Jude says you need to go to the attic, but to do that you need the key, which is in the trophy room. To get to the trophy room, you need to turn on the power in the basement. To get to the basement, you need to find D batteries for your flashlight. It's an adventure game. There's a lot of locked doors and a lot of keys. Yeah. My favorite thing is I was talking with Maddie. I was like, how far did you get? And she's like, oh, I'm about to go to the attic. I'm like, oh, have you met Jude? I love Jude. And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, then I don't know why you're thinking that it's just going to let you go to the attic. Like, there's like 2 hours of game between.
Game will be into a false sense of security because whenever you try to leave your room, you can. It's just unlocked. It's no big deal. And you even get an achievement called like, what do you mean it's not locked? So I was like, oh, even though this is Homestuck, I didn't have to do a bunch of puzzle bullshit just to leave my fucking room. I guess that won't continue for the rest of the game as well. And then you go to the attic and it's like, now you got to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Going into the attic means you've reached the halfway point of the game.
Yeah. My favorite thing about getting the batteries here is you get like the first ones you find are E cell, and you need to find D cell batteries, and you can find like 3 other kinds of batteries that don't fit. And if you keep the E cell batteries with you, you could try to use them on everything, and the joke just keeps being how much bigger and bigger they get. And then later there's a giant hole in the floor, and if you use the batteries on the hole, it's like these batteries won't fit in that hole. And just like, oh, the 90s with our ridiculously large batteries.
Yeah. One thing about this game, and this is one reason why it's so cool, and it took me so long to play it, is that like most adventure games, you accumulate inventory.
Mhm.
You can click to use every inventory item on every other inventory item, and even more. You can click to use every inventory item on every interactable object in the entire game, and there's unique writing for it.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Like you go into a new room, and it's like, it's the kitchen. Here's the fridge. Here's all of the empty boxes of takeout you can click on. Here's the window you can click on. Here's the washing machine or the dishwasher you can click on. And all those things, you can go to your 10 inventory items and click on every one of those, and then click on the thing in the scene, and it'll say what happens when you try to use batteries on takeout. And a lot of it is really funny. And it's funny, it's characterful, but mostly it's just like absurd. Like, what the fuck? But the game is short enough where like combinatorically it's not completely insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's just enough where it's like, yeah, this is an absurd thing to do, but it also did take a finite amount of time. I don't think they were being absurd to do. And I read most of it. It didn't actually get as long as you think, because like your inventory doesn't change very often. So it's like, you've got these items, right? Eventually you get one more item. Okay, then you go and use that one item on everything.
Yeah.
You know, anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Of course, as the game progressed, I read less and less of it because I needed to go to sleep. So I need to finish.
There also was less and less of it when you get to Alternia. There were times when I was sure I knew the answer to the puzzle, and I clicked a thing, and I didn't even get a message for it. So I was really bad at the puzzles, is what that means.
Yeah, there are a few times where you'll click on something and then click on the environment, and it just doesn't react at all. But very seldom. Like it definitely gives the impression that basically everything has unique dialogue, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You do a bunch of bullshit.
And you wind up in the basement is the next important thing.
Let me see if there's anything I want to mention. So at this point you start talking with your brother Jude.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, wait. Yes, his name is Jude, because your name is Joey. Got it. All these J names.
I know.
In classic HOMESTUCK fashion, the characters always follow very specific naming conventions.
Yeah. It's 4-letter first name, 6-letter last name.
Yep. And they'll
no variation.
Yeah. So
and then Jude, the extended Harley family are all J's, which just gets nuts.
Yep. So Sam had this in his notes, but we went past it. So Jude is Joey's brother. He's I think probably a twin brother, because that's how Homestuck works. But it seems more like it's a little brother. Like their relationship
it's a little brother. You're the
right.
Sad Stuck here in a
yeah.
second. Yeah, there's pictures with Joey and her mom, but there's no pictures of Jude and her mom or the three of them together. So it's implied that she died in childbirth, giving birth to Jude.
Yep, or died some other way.
But around the time of Jude being a little baby.
Exactly. So Jude is he's got a treehouse.
Also, real quick, isn't it weird that these kids were born in the Homestuck universe?
Instead of like created through weird slime.
Yeah, they're not Paradox clones. I mean, as far as we know.
Yeah, as far as who fucking knows?
Who knows where it's going from this? But so far, it's just kids.
So you and Jude the whole time are talking via walkie-talkie. You can click on the walkie-talkie pretty often and hear some dialogue, either important plot dialogue or just like reminding you where you need to go dialogue. So Jude's thing is that he's very obsessed with like this sort of make-believe, like exaggerated thing of like, oh, I'm a spy, I'm a super spy, I'm uncovering the conspiracy, don't come into my treehouse, it's my home base, and I'm unraveling the conspiracy. And of course Joey's just like, little brother, having an active imagination. But guess what? When alien monsters are attacking you, you think, oh, maybe my brother isn't just having an active imagination. He takes everything very seriously. He's like beep. He's like, over. I use proper talk. At one point he says over, and then he realizes he needs to say something else, so he goes unover.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is he's all like, oh, we have to be operationally secure. Like, don't say certain things over the line. What if the enemy is listening? Oh, you need to do this simple task. Go through this door. Well, I hid the key in a very hard to get to place for security reasons. Sorry. So that's sort of what's going on in this first part of the game is you having to go through all this bullshit. Mostly
Instead
because of your
opening
brother.
the door.
And your brother trying to help you, but also, even though he takes it also seriously, he also, like, fucks up. So he's like, I planned this all so much.
Yeah.
I planned this all so much in advance for any contingency. And then you're like, okay, I need marbles. And he's like, fuck. I put all the marbles in my treehouse with me. I forgot to put any marbles in that room.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So you get to what's the first strife of the game? Basement,
so
right?
The first strife is it's in the basement where the serpent monster follows you in, and the strife is really cool. You can fail spectacularly at like 5 different levels as you go through it, and there's a bunch of if you go and read Homestuck, when you get to a strife panel, there's like big text that pops up to like describe your moves, and there's a different move for every item you try to use, everything you try to use, and when you try to use it, because it's like a small puzzle to actually get past them. And how you get past the serpent monster is you use your ballet slippers to gracefully abscond past it. And then you get to the trophy room, which is where Jude has set up this crazy puzzle for you to figure out. It's the one that requires the marbles. But when you get there, there's a monster that has too many feet. He has 2 tiny little feet hanging off of his chin, and he's so cute. And you distract it with dog treats for the second strife. So then you are now Jude Harley. And
So you switch characters, and you're playing as Jude now, and then you do more clicking on things to learn about this other character, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and well, the first thing that happened is like Jude's like, oh crap, and then the game changes, and then it says you are now Jude Harley. I literally was like, okay, so yeah, this is definitely Granddad's kids, like 100%. Like I like had a feeling, and I was like, well, how is it going to be? Is it going to just be like a reference over to Granddad or what? But no, this is like canonically Jake's kids, and it's great.
And again, so Jake is like, he's just weird and selfish, and also has weird issues with women. He has all these. He has a lot of. He's one of the few characters who doesn't really get. I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler. He doesn't really get any redemption at the end of the story. He kind of does. Like, he realizes he's an idiot, and he ends up helping everyone fight. He realizes he's an idiot, and he apologizes for being an idiot, but he doesn't like fix what's wrong with his fucking
everything.
Self.
Yeah.
You know, so presumably he just continues being shitty, which is great. So Jude has to, so you got to send Joey some marbles, right?
Yeah.
And you have these carrier pigeons, and there's this outrageously funny thing where you put the marbles in a pouch and you put it on the carrier pigeon, and he's like, hell yeah, like, go, fly, do it, be a hero. And there's this really well animated cutscene where the pigeon flies, and it's about to go and be a big hero, and the heroic music plays, and then a fucking monster like eats it out of the air. It's the funniest shit.
It's so good.
And Jude is like, he is like, he's like so sad.
Yeah, because as you like click around and do everything, Jude's talking about how like his carrier pigeons are like his babies, and then his favorite one, Fry something. I forgot. I have it.
Who knows?
Yeah, but he's like, this one's my favorite. He's going to do it, and that's the one that gets killed the first time, and you're just like, oh, whoops. It's Frohike. That's the one. Yeah, Frohike.
Yeah, it rules. And then you send a second pigeon, and instead of getting eaten, it just flies away.
Yeah.
And then the third one, they make a big deal about how he hates this pigeon. He's like, this pigeon sucks. I hate him with my life. I loathe this pigeon. He's a pathetic piece of shit pigeon. So you throw it out there, and he flies right where he's supposed to go. And then all of a sudden you start saying how this pigeon's amazing and he's your favorite pigeon, and he even changes his name.
Yeah.
Like when you first click on the bad pigeon, they're saying his name is I sent it to you in the chat. His name is come on.
Don't remember.
This is so important. It's not important, but Langley. He's like Langley. No, I hate Langley.
Langley's the one. It was the second one that flew away.
I don't know. No, definitely not.
I'm on the wiki.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I guess I got confused because I thought that the really shitty
Joey does change his name from Byers to something else, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Oh wait, hold on. I have a screenshot of it. This is important. No, it's not actually important, but I do need to pull up my screenshots anyway for unrelated reasons. For plot reasons. Yeah. Where is it? Babysitter, Joey, the shitty bird, the story keeps happening. Oh yeah, the movie The Never Ending Story is called The Story Keeps Happening.
It's so good. Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, maybe when he's going on and on about how much he hates Langley. So here's the thing. He goes on this big rant about how much he hates Langley. And he does that when you click on the third bird.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you click on the third bird, but he's complaining about the previous bird that just fucked up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I misunderstood. I thought he was saying like, oh, this third bird I'm about to use, I hate him. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's funny in a different way. It's funnier in my head.
Yeah. So Byers gets over and he wins and everything's great. So Joe then has to go and get it, and you strife with a bunch of monsters, and Jude decides to help by accidentally setting the yard on fire.
Classic Jude.
And doing so distracts him long enough for you to win your strife and get up to the attic. And then there's a big old Caliborn looking ass portal.
Yeah, you get to this portal, which is important for there's so many lore things happening in this attic that we won't even bother fucking going into. Every single thing that happens in this attic, I'm like, lore. This is a reference to something.
Everywhere.
What's happening? Point is, he opened a portal with a big key.
Yeah. Yeah, a real big key. That was in your mother's jewelry box, was one of her heirlooms. And so A. Claire is probably going to be like lore important if we ever get to finish this game.
Yeah.
But so she opens the portal with a key, and as she's flying past, you can see the other Pokemon that's getting traded, and you see this little troll boy, and they stop and look at each other on the way past. And
so true to the name of the game, Hiveswap, what happens is you from this universe and the troll from Troll Universe apparently switch places, basically.
Yeah, I in my notes I said this sends her to Alternia, swapping places with Damek and ending up in his hive in a situation which possibly borders on the titular.
Nice.
Homestuck reference. Yeah, I don't know if I should call out all the Homestuck references today.
Spoiler alert: we're referencing Homestuck. It's almost like this entire review is a Homestuck reference, or this entire episode. Anyway, then you're in a new scary place.
Yeah, and you get to meet Zephyros. He's my son, and I will protect him till the end of time.
Xerox is really good. It turns out Hussey has not stopped having very strong feelings about writing stories that are largely about abusive relationships.
Yep.
That doesn't stop from keep happening. Hussey's really good about writing. Well, again, Hussey's not the writer here. I don't know, but again, like I'm pretty sure he wrote the basic scenario. I'm pretty sure it was just the actual script that was written by Cohen.
It says story by Andrew Hussey, which means all the main beats were done.
So anyway, just like in Homestuck, though, very, very realistic description of the psychology of abusive relationships, and it's very upsetting, but that's just par for the course for Homestuck.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Xerox is so good. So we meet Xerox by picking up this tablet, and my favorite thing is it hand waves an entire quote unquote plot hole from Homestuck, where in Homestuck the trolls all speak in their own like writing. Every time you see that it's the trolls typing, it's in a different character set, but then they talk with all these people who talk in English, and nobody ever has a language barrier whatsoever. And so in this one, Joey goes and picks it up. She's like, all the words are in a different language that you don't understand, but you can read it anyways. And then you just start talking to Xerox and keep going. It's great. But
there you go.
Yeah, so when you're talking to Zephyros, he mentions that Damek is like Jude, but on steroids. So like constantly he's making Zephyros speak in code and not telling Zephyros what the code is, and always just like saying it's a test and all of these things. And so he's constantly tripping over his words because he thinks when you come up and you're like, hi, I'm not Damek, I'm an Earth girl named Joey, I really need your help, I'm really scared. He's like, oh, this is another test. And so he doesn't believe that Joey's not actually Damek for like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, he thinks that you're Damek trying to trick him by using the code. He's also he said that Damek is like Jude, but honestly, Zephyros is also a lot like Jude. I feel like him is an opposite Jude. Like Jude is all obsessed with being a spy and espionage and the plan and codes, but he does it very well. Whereas Zephyros is all obsessed with the same thing. Of course, we realize it's because of Damek, but still, he has the same obsession, but he's really bad at it.
Yeah.
So he's always fucking it up, but he's still trying to he still buys into it, is the thing. So he's still like, oh, I can't tell you that because of bad OPSEC, or oh, I hid that key because of OPSEC, but like again, but he's like fucking terrible at it. So it's a nice little contrast there. It's really cute.
Yeah. And so to finally prove that she is indeed an alien, she takes a picture of herself, and Zephyros is like, I wrote my notes Xerox too many times, but I'm trying to keep it like canon in what I'm saying. But so Zephyros is like, oh, you're an alien and your blood is red. That means the heiress is going to kill you, so you should join our rebellion. So he decides to go over and help her. And so we move over to Zephyros' house, where we get to control him, and we have to move his sloth Lussus out of the way so that he can escape over to Dimmick's house to save Joey.
Lussus is a pet that's also your mom, because you don't have real parents.
Yeah. And troll society is definitely a metaphor.
I didn't realize this until yesterday, but I'm realizing that troll society, this Homestuck obviously is inspired by very, very, very many works of art, but I never realized that there's a totally big parallel with Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Just sort of the combination of patriotism, imperialism, mixing citizenship with military service. I'm like, oh, it's like a Starship Troopers thing.
Yeah. It's good. But so to move his Lussus, you have to do you have to go into your game room to unlock the safe, but you made the safe require telekinetic powers to open, but your telekinetic powers are really shitty. So you have to go and find your energy drinks to boost your telekinetic powers so that you can get your Q-Bat to open up this thing to get snacks for your Lussus, to distract them with snacks so that you can get past. And some world building we get about Zephyros while we're there is he's super into arena stickball, and he's a rust blood, which means he has red blood because troll society is racist on your blood color. And he has a bunch of really cute pictures with him and Dimmick, which means that maybe Dimmick isn't an asshole all of the time, which like makes the whole abusive relationship like A, way more true, and B, way more sad, because like it shows that like Zephyros sees, this is my best friend, look at us in a band together, look at us eating pizza, look at us having all this good time. But then you see all of the like, I'm doing this to make you a stronger person, but what I'm doing is being an asshole to you type thing that Dimmick does.
Yeah, here's the situation that you learn throughout playing the game. Dimmick is the leader, or wants to have this resistance, and Dimmick seems like he actually has legitimate, like, he's doing a real thing. Like, their society, they are stupendously oppressed, and he actually wants to rebel against the evil Empress and defeat her. And because of that, he wants himself and Zephyros to be strong and smart and get their shit together. But he's also just a very domineering person. So like, yeah, so he I don't think he's like forces Zephyros to do these things. Like Zephyros obviously is on board with revolution. He's on board with being in a band. He's on board with all that stuff. The issue is just that he gives Zephyros, he's just completely domineering and gives Zephyros zero like control over his life, and he has no respect for individual boundaries or private property. In a joke he's seen from later. Joey even comments like, it really seems like Zephyros doesn't like have any respect for like your boundaries or private property. And Joey and Zephyros is like, well, Tetrarch Damek says that the concept of private property is a vehicle for exploitation and the tool by which the high blood subjugate the low blood underclass. And I'm like, well, he's not wrong. So that's the thing. It's just like taking everything times 100 too. You know, it's like, Zephyros wanted to be in a band. I don't know if Zephyros wanted it, but it's like, oh, me and Zephyros are in a band, and Zephyros does enjoy being in the band. Let's go so hard on being in the band. Yeah. Even if Zephyros is not as into it as I am, you know? Let's go super hard on Zephyros' training. Zephyros is a butler, but they're both butlers.
So one world building thing that I didn't remember from Homestuck, so it's probably a new addition to the canon, is that the bronze bloods, Demek's blood is bronze. They are naturally gifted leaders, but they're subjugated by the purple and fuchsia bloods. So the number one cause of death for bronze bloods is being killed by a fuchsia blood because they're trying to keep the man down and stuff. And so it's like it was when it was talking about the deer cat, which we kind of skipped over, but it's fine. Later, it's like the number one cause of death for deer cats is protecting their young from an angry ruler that they're trying to overthrow or whatever. And it's really cool.
It is.
So one thing I wanted to bring up, I was going to save it for my memorable moments, but it fits now. So Joey calls Zephyros at one point, and he goes, you remembered my name. You didn't just call me Xerox. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. And Joey says, Zephyros, I'm going to do my absolute best to raise your standard of friendship to the point where having your name remembered is not the nicest thing anyone has ever done for you.
Yeah, that's a really great part. That's actually basically
it kind of sums up the whole Damek and Zephyros relationship as well. It's like, you see all this good stuff, but then just having his name remembered made him this happy.
So the situation is that Joey cannot leave the house that she's currently in because there is she can't even leave the room that she's in because she got chased into a room by the Lustus of this house. It's this big, beautiful, what's it called? Patronus looking ass deer creature.
They keep calling it a deer cat, but it's definitely a deer dog. But
it chases her in there, and she's like, "Oh, what do I do?" And Zephyros keeps being like, "That's weird that it's attacking you. Usually he's so nice. I don't really get it." So Zephyros is like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna help you." What is he actually gonna do to help? Oh, he's just gonna go over there.
He's going to go over there because the Lustus knows him, and so just be like, "Hey, look, Demek's in an alternate universe. This is Joey. We're going to help out. Everything's going to be fine."
Yeah.
But right as Zephyros goes outside, he gets nuked.
Like literally, an evil robot drone drops a fucking nuclear bomb on his house, and everything falls apart, and he gets buried in rubble. And then for the rest of the game, the whole time he's just buried in rubble.
And if you switch over to play as him, all you can do is like there's so many things you can interact with on the screen, but Zephyros is just like I can't see it because I'm under all of this rubble.
Yep. And so the whole time though, he's so chipper. He's just so happy. He's like, it's not that he's happy. It's more that I'm pretty sure he's just learned to deny himself and never
Hmm.
complain about anything because of his abusive relationship. But the funny thing is, in this case, it's not even Damek hurting him or Damek hurting doing it, but he's still like he's like, no, everything's fine. I'm not upset about anything. Everything's good. Um,
Yeah,
what's
and
one of the
every time he signs off when you're talking to him, he's just like, "All right, it's getting hard to stay awake, so I'm going to focus on blinking my eyes a lot real quick."
Yep.
It's
Let's
just like
see.
you're dying. Why are you so happy?
Here it is. She's like, she goes, look, man, just make sure you keep. I'm gonna try and save you, so just keep pressure on your wounds and don't move. And he goes, oh, that's okay. The weight of the rubble crushing my body is pressing down on my wounds and preventing me from moving at all. XD, like smiley face. And she goes, man, Xerox, buddy, we've got to work on your concept of what's okay.
Right?
um, so yeah, so then you're Joey, and you do
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. Frankly,
Yeah, the nuke jostled some boxes so that you can climb up them and go through a vent and then explore the rest of the house. And not a whole lot really is important. Like you crawl through the vent, then open the door, which causes a security lockdown. So you do a 2 times snake password combo bob, and then you investigate a really gross kitchen, and you acquire milk ? And bowl ? And then you ascend to the attic to get a sweet ass hover pad. Then you leave the milky treat for the Lussus.
hold on, pause real quick. So the issue is
Okay.
you need this hover pad because that's
Yeah.
what's going to that's the item you actually need to save
Yeah.
Zephyros. He's buried under rubble. You can't lift
Yeah,
the
that's
rubble
what
or
it is,
him.
yeah.
So you need this hover pad thingy. It's just a device that can levitate things, right?
Yeah.
But so you get the item, which is good, but you still can't leave your house because of the big monster. So
Yeah.
that's when you become aware that okay, it slowly dawns on you and on Zephyros and on Joey that Joey is going to have to make use of her primary character trait, which we
Veterinarianism.
haven't discussed. Yeah, turns out,
Yeah.
first of all, we were both going to gush about this at some point anyway. Joey's an amazing character.
She's so good. Oh my god.
She's already one of my top Homestuck characters.
Yeah.
She's really great. So what her thing is, she loves animals, and I know that's a pretty common trait. Oh, I love animals, but like she really does, and she also really loves like
all of the games she has. You play as a healer, and there's no fighting because she doesn't want to fight animals.
so
she wants to
hates
just go around healing animals.
And in a cool bit of psychology, I love how it's like this is just so Homestucky. It's like I feel like her dislike of fighting and guns and love of healing is like maybe like 50% something inside of her that's innate that she was born with, but also like 50% a rebellion against her dad.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
her dad loves to kill animals.
Like almost every puzzle in the first part of the game could be solved by shooting the monsters and leaving. And Jake left guns everywhere. Dimmick leaves
and
guns
they're all loaded too.
everywhere. And they're all loaded. They're all ready to go off. And Joey's just like, I will never use a gun.
Yeah.
And it's good. Like it makes the puzzle better.
She doesn't play games where you use guns. And all she wants to do is to heal animals and to heal people and just be a sweetheart. And it's cool. And one thing I like about it is that's obviously a very traditionally feminine trait. And so far, I feel like Homestuck has mostly trafficked in female characters that are of the more like strong female character stereotype. Like they're badasses, which, the whole strong female character stereotype is like, oh, we're going to do feminism. It started in like the 90s and 2000s where it's like, we're going to do feminism by having female leads that are just as badass as the men, aka we're going to just not have there be anything feminine about them.
Yeah.
Right? Because femininity is stupid.
It like started in like such a good way, but then after a while you're like, okay, so now every movie just stars Princess Leia. What happened to like the Breakfast at Tiffany's type of girls?
Yeah.
Like those girls still exist. Why aren't they in any movies anymore?
It's like we're being weirdly misogynist because we're saying that the only way for a woman to be worthy of being the hero is by getting rid of traditionally feminine traits because those are stupid. Whereas,
but not here.
Joey, her personality wise is she's does not have a lot of that traditional femininity. She looks tomboyish. She's rambunctious. She's tough. But her interests are these traditionally feminine interests of nurture and healing and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool to see those sort of traits be foregrounded and celebrated in a character.
Yeah.
Also,
and
she's
like
just
literally
really funny and great.
saves the day.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
you
and
find out that the Lussus is hurt. He's a
Yeah.
hurt, angry creature. So you do all this shenanigans,
Yeah.
like distracting him with milk, etc., etc.
And then finding a big book of Alternian biology,
Yeah,
so that
she's
you
like-
can look it up to see what the matter is.
Yeah, she's like, oh man, I can't wait to be veterinarian on this animal on an alien planet that I have no experience with. I hope this book has the animal in it so that I can find out what's going on. But
And it does.
what I think was a cute joke, the reason why he was upset is like the most cliche trope ever, which is that he
It's
had
so good.
a little spike in a thorn in his paw, which is like, how
Yeah.
many cartoons has that been in, right?
Right?
So also, like, she really needed a book to tell her to take the thorn out of the paw.
Right? It's so good.
So anyway, the Lussus now likes her, and she gets
Yeah.
on top of it and rides out into the middle, and
Mm-hmm.
she, plot-wise, she saves, she rescues Zephyros, and they ride
Mhm.
off into the sunset to go get help from someone else to start the next phase of their journey, and that's the end.
Yeah. Zephyros is like, we need some help, but Dimmick's not here, but we have I have a mutual friend with Dimmick that could probably help us. And so they go off to go and get it. And then you see, as they're riding off, they take a selfie together, but then Triza, the heiress, also takes a selfie, because there was a joke where he is like, because Joey was like, why did she just bomb your neighborhood? And he's like, I don't know, probably the flames made a good background for her selfie. And then we see Triza take a selfie with the flames in the background.
Yeah. So she's like this evil like empress who likes to destroy everything and oppress everybody, but she's also just like a basic Instagram bitch.
Yeah.
But
is Triza a troll that we know?
no, it's a new one.
Okay. Because obviously, because it's like her destiny, she looks a lot like a bunch of the trolls.
She looks like a bunch of them. Yeah.
But
knows
it's
how
been
she's
a
actually
while
related.
since I've been there. I was like, is she the Batter Witch or no?
No, she's not.
But no. But yeah.
But yeah, so one thing to mention right before you leave, the climax of the game we already mentioned earlier. It's Joey is trying to save Xerneas from the rubble, Zephyros, and he's having a mental breakdown basically about how he's worthless, he sucks, he can't do any good for anybody, and Joey's been putting up with it this whole time. But at this point, she basically like loses it.
Yeah.
And let's see. I didn't take a screenshot of it, although Sam I think sent me one on the chat earlier. Yeah. She just loses it and gives him like the ultimate like loving friendship pep talk ever, saying like friends says, do not let friends be that way. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I found it in our chat. She goes, I may not know anything about the social customs of this crazy alien planet, but I know that a real friend would never stand by and let you think and say those things about yourself. I don't think you're nothing. In fact, I know you're not nothing. And that's when she decides she's going to go and save him, and it's good.
Yeah, it's cool as hell, and I can tell this is a climax because this text conversation goes on for like a long time. And it goes like hard with the emotions, and I think the music even changes to be like sad, like dramatic feelings music. So I'm like, oh, this is the climax of the game. Is him having and that's how Homestuck works. The climax isn't when you fight the bad guy. The climax is when you tell your friend that they need to believe in themselves, because they suck, or because they're being down on themselves. So Joey's awesome, and it works. Zephyros actually does like get some confidence and be like, I need to stand up for myself. I am my own person. Maybe I'm not totally believing you that Dimmick is bad for me. I still think he's my friend and we're best friends and it's not a bad relationship, but like, okay, I guess I am kind of realizing that I should think more highly of myself and not just feel like shit all the time. Okay. I think I kind of get that. And that's it.
Yeah. Some, choice quotes from this game that I wanted to call out. So you go to your window at the very beginning, and you look out the window, and there's a bunch of monsters everywhere. If you click on them, Joey goes, "Yikes! More of them! Gentrification is the real monster."
It's great.
It's so good. And then if you talk to Jude right after, and you say that there's a bunch of monsters, he goes, "How many and how gross?" Over.
Yeah, keep going through yours while I pull mine up.
Yeah. So then, when you get by the monster with all the legs, Joey goes, "All right, monster inflicted death scene averted. You are unbelievably stressed out right now." And then the last one that I screenshot was just a overt Homestuck reference, because like besides it being like hella drenched in lore constantly, all of it has not been like callbacks, which is like if you read Homestuck, the entire point of it is it's all a callback. But the only one that I caught that was actually there was, okay, I really don't know what to say to any of that, which is something many a character says in Homestuck.
I caught a couple of actual callbacks. Just a couple, though. Let's see. Oh, this is not a callback, but another great dialogue with Zephyros.
Mm-hmm.
When you're being Zephyros, Joey goes, "You're pretty upbeat about all this. I think if I was..." Oh, no, sorry. Zephyros goes, "You're pretty upbeat about all this. I think if I was suddenly shot across the galaxy or whatever, I'd be flipping out." And she goes, "Aren't you currently bleeding out under a ton of rocks?" And he goes, "Haha, I guess so, XD." Also, I'll skip that part. I don't care about that part. At one point, you're looking at in the fridge in Alternia, and you see a thing of grub sauce, and it says, "You don't ask about grub sauce. That's not what you do with grub sauce," which is that's an actual direct like repeat of a line from Homestuck. Which
that's beautiful.
I really appreciated how they don't actually do that a lot. Because that's cheap, right? Just like, remember that joke you already liked? We're making it again.
Yeah. One thing that we did skip over when you're playing as Zephyros in his house, he's constantly worried that their communications are being monitored by the heiress.
So you're about to say the part I just skipped over. That's great. You say it now.
But he goes outside, and there's a package from Doc Scratch, which is a hugely important Homestuck lore person.
Somehow I didn't put that together. The circle.
He even calls it Scratchware instead of software, and so he gets that to protect him from the from being watched, so they could talk without code after that point.
Oh yeah, and then the part that I skipped, but since you're already here, I'll say it anyway. You're uploading the software or the Scratchware, and he goes, "As a one-time special offer, all past messages are protected as well. Do you agree that you are already subject to the terms of service?" And the options are yes, as far as I know, and I'm vaguely unsettled by this. Also, at one point, for the millionth time, right? Zephyros is in trouble, and Joey says that she's concerned, and I don't know what Zephyros says. He's like, "You're concerned? Why?" And she goes, "Being concerned is what friends do for each other."
Speaking of dialogue choices, this game has like Xenogears level top-notch dialogue choices.
Very good, and, yeah.
One of them is, I don't remember what Zephyros asks, but your choices are lowercase no, properly cased and punctuated no, and then all caps with an exclamation point no.
That's when Zephyros is in the middle of his self-hate spiral, and you picking no is what starts Joey going on her believing herself tirade, because she at this point she's just fed the fuck up with it.
Yeah, right. It's good. It's so good.
It's so good. One thing that I love / hate about this game is that they stole my fucking bit. Okay, I am the one who makes references to The Great Gatsby. Okay, that is my gimmick. Other people can't have that gimmick, especially not people with more of a platform than me. Because then what do I have? I have nothing, right? I am nothing if not my ability to connect anything and everything to The Great Gatsby. So right at the beginning of the fucking game, literally the second you get control of Joey, when you can walk around the room, whether it takes you 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 1 minute, depends on what order you explore the room in, right? Theoretically, though, the first thing you can do in the fucking game is go to the second part of it, the second screen of your room, look out the window when you're looking at all the monsters, where she says a line about gentrification, but also you see the treehouse with Jude in it, and he's blinking a light at you, like doing like a Morse code light, saying like, "I'm okay, I'm blinking my light." And you click on the blinking light, and the dialogue says, or the narration says, "You briefly muse on the metaphorical significance of the flashing light. What could it represent? The past, the future, America?" And I was like, "Fuck you! Who wrote this game? Did I write this game? Because that's the exact shit I would have written." And I'm so mad. I'm so mad because, like, yeah, I thought I was the only game in town when it came to making extremely stupid and constant, unceasing references to the Great Gatsby. But apparently, Cohen is a Ghost is on the same page as me. Fuck you.
Speaking of the Morse code, when you get the walkie-talkie and you talk to Jude, she's like, "Hey, monster, blah 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 blah," and he goes, "I already know. Didn't you get my message?" And she goes, I don't know Morse code." And that's good.
Let's see. Okay, now switched over to my other thingy. Okay. If I have one thing I love about this game, but also maybe actually a criticism if I have one. Even though I love all the references and I love all the connections, I almost feel like I was surprised at how obvious they made it. Yeah. Like right at the beginning where it's like, your babysitter loves wizards. I was like, oh, that's like a hint that if you're really into Homestuck, you realize that that's Roxy. I wasn't expecting later to be like, here's a photo of Roxy.
Yeah.
You know, I was really enjoying the slow burn of like piecing together what it really was and maybe having an idea of what it was. But then it turns out they're like, no, we're just going to tell you. And I was like, oh, I was kind of enjoying the mystery. But
which I think, like, I like it this way because, like, you get the slow burn if you're a diligent, like, looker arounder, which Homestuck would have made you. So if you're a Homestuck fan coming into this, you're going to be clicking on everything, and you're going to get that slow burn of everything. But if it's important down the line, they need the average person to know it.
Yeah.
And so that's like, okay, well, this is a picture of Jake Harley. It's Granddad. You now know.
Also, I guess now that I think about it, I guess now that I am a on the record as a J.J. Abrams hater, right? And J.J. Abrams' whole thing is
except for his Mission Impossible, because that's
except for Mission Impossible 3, which rocks. J.J. Abrams is known for his mystery box storytelling, where he's like, we're going to string you along, and the whole point of the story, the whole reason we keep you invested, is we make you wonder about these mysteries. I do like how, because this game just does go ahead and just say, like, here's who she is, here's who your parents are, right at the beginning, you don't waste any effort with the rest of the story worrying about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the point. The point of the game is not string you along so that you don't know who your mom is or your dad is, and then have fan theories about it, and maybe they'll explain it in the next one, like fucking Star Wars 7, right? It's like, no, like, we're just going to tell you and build tension using actual drama and not just bullshit mysteries for things that we could have explained but just didn't, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I like that. But it was kind of surprising. It was like, oh, they're just laying it out there. But some of the nice little slow burn is early on you're looking through the kitchen and you're like, there's all this baking stuff, and she's like, what is it? Oh yeah. She's talking about, she has one of those easy bake ovens, and she's like, I ran out of all the easy bake stuff. I guess I could just use normal cooking ingredients, but it's not like I just leave cooking ingredients sitting around. Who does that? Who does that? People with moms, you guess. And it's like, oh, that's how you know she's an orphan, right?
Yeah.
Also, there's a great part. This is such a weird thing. This feels more like a Ryan North thing. They exclusively
Ryan North was also one of the writers, so
okay, there we go then. Okay, I didn't notice that. Yeah, okay, because there's a lot of Ryan North in this writing. One of the many Ryan Northy parts of his writing, websites are exclusively referred to as apostrophe sites.
Yeah.
Because sites is an abbreviation of websites, right? So they always put the apostrophe for sites. It's hilarious.
Yeah. She also refers, instead of her online friends, because you didn't have those in 1994, she just has her webbering.
Yep.
Which is a word I hadn't thought of in almost 20 years.
That's a blast from the fucking past, right? At one point she's using a key, and the key, if you try to use batteries on the key, she goes, it doesn't need batteries. It's more like, you try to think of a comparison to illustrate that this key isn't digital, but you just can't find the right analog. So that shit happens anytime you click on two items together. Also, there is one more pop culture reference. So in classic Homestuck fashion, the main character is obsessed with a pop culture thing that is something that is real world thing that I've heard of. It's not super popular, but it's not obscure either. It's like a weirdly off kilter thing that like your average reader probably is aware of it but hasn't actually read it, which is what makes it funny that this character is like obsessed with it, right? She loves the show Clarissa Explains It All.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, and it's just offhand references, like what would Clarissa do in this situation? And I'm aware of Clarissa Explains It All, but have never watched it. It was Disney, right?
No, it was Nickelodeon.
Early Nickelodeon. It must have been before I had Nickelodeon then. Yeah. Or I just wasn't on at a time where I watched it. But yeah. And so that's her thing, right? Like with Jane, it was Arrested Development. With John, it was Con Air. And with this, it's Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah, and it's so good. Like you get to Damek's computer, and instead of trying to use it to solve any of your puzzles, you're just like, I wonder if he makes games on it to pass the time, like Clarissa from Clarissa Explains It All.
Yep. There's a point where you get to choose whether you want to trust Jude, and the two options are I trust you and trust is for chumps. Of course, I picked trust is for chumps. Oh, there's also a great part where you click on a portrait of your mom, and it says, ooh la la, that their mom is looking très glamnifique. When you grow up, you hope this is what mirrors will look like.
Oh, I didn't notice that part.
That's really so sweet. Also, there's a diptych of Jude and Joey, and she says that Jude puts the dip in diptych, and I'm like, that sure is a joke that Ryan North probably wrote.
Right? It's so good.
And then there's the part where they talk about how sometimes the babysitter goes into the attic and drinks a bunch of alcohol, and Joey and Jude don't bring it up because they don't know how to deal with that situation. Yeah.
And then you also, when you get to the kitchen and you go to click on like this food that looks like it was being cooked, you're like, yeah, we were out of ingredients. So our babysitter said, you guys will be fine for 30 minutes, right? And went to the store to replace it. And turns out we were not fine for 30 minutes.
Yep. Extremely fine.
So that's where Roxy is during Hiveswap, is she's at the store.
Also, tip for this game, maybe you don't have time to click on every single combination of every single possible item because that's absurd. But as soon as you get Byers the bird, clicking on Byers on everything is extremely funny. Well, the reactions you get is funny, but also just canonically as like role playing, like putting myself in the story. I love the idea that I'm going around like trying to use the bird on everything. It's just like, Byers, interact with this technology device, and Byers is like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So that's how I play this game. Anyway, I know that was a lot of things, but like every line of this game is gold.
Yeah, you should play it. It's cheap. You should also read Homestuck. It's free.
Oh yeah, if you have not read Homestuck, don't get me wrong, you're definitely not exactly in the target audience for this game, but it'll be fucking fine. You'll still enjoy it. You won't get a lot of it, but you'll find it very funny, and you'll enjoy the characters.
And like the story itself, like it explains all of the Homestuck related things you need to know in game, so you can probably play it without playing Homestuck.
Oh,
but it's
absolutely.
Also about it. How long to beat says 2 hours. Me and Maddie both took about 6 hours ourselves.
Yeah,
but,
that's fine.
So it's between 2 to 6 hours of experience. Homestuck is 8,000 pages. It's much easier for you to play Hiveswap and play Hiveswap Friend Sim and see if you like it and then go back and dive in
Yep.
to 8,000 plus pages of
I just
Homestuck.
realized something funny. There's only references to alpha kids in this game.
Yeah.
So if you play this game and you love this game, and then you go read Homestuck, all these characters that are the main characters in this game's babysitters and parents, you'll meet them after reading for about 100 hours.
Well, no, actually, you meet them right away. You just don't know their names right away. So us saying Jake and Roxy.
Oh yeah, there's
no big deal. But
extremely opaque
Granddad.
references. Yeah.
No, not even extremely opaque references.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well,
both Jade and Rose talk with their.
Yeah, I forgot that Granddad is alternate. You actually kept saying Granddad. I legitimately forgot that Granddad was alternate universe Jake.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you see Jake and Roxy
character
in the first 2 acts, but yeah, you don't get to know them until
if what we're saying makes no fucking sense. I'm just gonna explain it. That way you'll either realize that Homestuck sounds like it's for you, or you'll be like, that sounds too stupid, I'm out. Okay, here's the thing. The first half of the story, okay, every character has a guardian. It's a very structured story. Everything's symmetrical. Yeah. Every character has one important person in their life that is absent. And they don't and so for Dave, it's his brother. For John, it's his dad. For Jade, it's Jade's grandpa, who is a hunter guy, an adventurer. And then for Rose, it's Rose's mom, who is an alcoholic, an abusive alcoholic. So basically, one character's mom is an abusive alcoholic, and one character's dad is an adventuring hunter. Way later in the story, there's some weird plot shenanigans, and you end up in an alternate universe where it's all flipped.
Yeah.
Now, the teen kid is an alcoholic, and her mom is a wizard, an intellectual wizard, kind of like Rose.
Yeah.
And the main character is a teen adventurer who loves to hunt, and his grandma reminds you a lot of that character from before. It's weird. There's a lot happening with Homestuck.
In the show notes, I will put from the Kickstarter. Hussey actually wrote so let me tell you about Homestuck, sum up of it is, etc. So I'll put that from the Kickstarter in our show notes. So if by now you haven't read Homestuck and you've wondered why we talk about it every single week, you can go and see if it's for you. And
here's the thing. This entire podcast was actually just and I don't mean this episode, I mean the entire existence of the podcast. Me and Sam were just trying to get all of our friends to read Homestuck.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That way they'll understand.
Yeah.
Eli, read Homestuck.
Yeah. Everyone read Homestuck.
It's so good, y'all. Not only will you get our dumb references, but then you'll start making dumb references, and then we'll all just be idiots together.
Yeah, and if you have already read Homestuck, you should go out and read the physicals, because the author commentary is for literally every page. So there are 8,000 paragraphs of author's commentary in these Homestuck books.
That is batshit.
It's so batshit.
Spoiler alert, Hussey really likes to write words.
Yeah, they're good. They're so good.
Anyway, I feel like that's probably it for the week. Also, I've got to go to work.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to be late or not. We'll find out.
Yeah, so if you like what you hear, let us know at RPG Book Club on Twitter, or at rpgbookclub@gmail.com, or on our Discord, which has a link in the description. It also has a link on both of those other things, so if you look us up, I'll get you a link to our Discord, no problem. Then head on over to our Patreon to vote on Best of the Rest Match 2, which will be Dragon Quest V versus Magic Knight Rayearth SNES, and throw some bones to keep the lights on around here.
Oh yeah. I just realized we went the entire episode, we didn't talk about the one important thing. Just quick shout out. The music kicks absolute ass.
Yeah, the best track is at the beginning, and then there's a couple just like serviceable good tracks for a while, but then you get to Alternia and the music is really fucking good again.
I don't even think that's true. I think everything in Alternia is an absolute banger, but everything on Earth I think is also a banger. Well, not a banger. It sounds like Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, it
sounds like Greg Hercote, but good.
Yeah, it is good background of a game music and less like Homestuck bangers.
That's true. It rules. Great work to person who turns out was not Toby Fox. Because of the influence Toby Fox had on Homestuck's music back when he was one of the composers for it, it obviously sounds a lot like Toby Fox. So another thing, if you like Undertale,
he worked on it too. James Roach was the music lead, and Toby Fox was additional music provided by.
Did I just have a stroke during the credits? I was watching when the credits rolled at the end of this game. I was watching the credits, and I was like, I didn't notice Ryan North. Apparently, I didn't notice Toby Fox, even though that's the reason I was watching the credits, was to see if I knew anyone in the credits. Okay, I guess I'm just incapable of reading words on a screen. I would not be good at being in the Matrix. Anyway, great job with the soundtrack, guys.
Yeah, it was super good. But come and see us. We'll be back to Final Fantasy X next week, more than likely. And one thing I think is hilarious is it feels like we took 3 weeks off to then take another week off, but we didn't actually take any weeks off. We just sucked at recording this episode of Final Fantasy. Yep. But come see us, hang out. We love all of you. Go read Homestuck.
Yeah.